ለዛሬው መሰናዳችን ይዘንላችሁ የቀረብነው ቃል የሚገኘው ሰቆቃወ ኤርምያስ ምዕራፍ 3 ቁጥር 26 ላይ ያለው ቃል ይሆናል። ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ነው የሚለው ቃል የዚህ ሳምንት የቃሉን ዘመር ምርጫችን ይሆናል። አስቀድመን ጥቂት እንዘምረውና የቃሉን እውነት ባጭሩ ደግሞ እንዳስሰዋለን። ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ነው።
የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም።
በዚህ ቃል ውስጥ ሶስት ዋና ነገሮች አሉ። አንደኛው ሰው ነው፣ ሁለተኛው የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን፣ ሶስተኛው ደግሞ ተስፋ ናቸው። ሰው ዝም ብሎ ተስፋ ሊያደርገው የሚገባው የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን የሆነው ይህ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ምንድነው የሚለውን አስቀድመን መልከታችን የዚህ ቃል ታላቅነት በቀላሉ ይገልጽልናል። ይህ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ብሎ መጽሐፍ ቅዱሳችን የሚናገረው ቃል ተራ ቃል እንዳይመስላችሁ። የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን በህይወታችን፣ በአገልግሎታችን፣ በትዳራችን፣ በጤንነታችን ሳይቀር ማዳኑ መጣልን ማለት በጣም ትልቅ ነገር ሆነልን ማለት እንደሆነ ልናውቅ ይገባናል። አንድ ጊዜ እንደምታስታውሱት እግዚአብሔር በሙሴ አማካኝነት ለህዝቡ ሲናገራቸው ህዝቡ የነበሩበት ሁኔታ በጣም አጣብቂኝ ሁኔታ ነበር። ከግብጽ ባርነት ወጥተው ወደ ከነዓን መንገድ እንደጀመሩ በፊት ለፊታቸው ቀይ ባህር ተንጣሎ ተደቀኑባቸዋል። ፈርዖን እንዲሄዱ ለቋቸው የነበረውን ሐሳቡን ቀይሮ ወደ ግብጽ ሊመልሳቸው ከኋላ ፈረሱን እየጋለበ በሰረገላው በፍጥነት እየገሰገሰባቸው በጭንቅ ውስጥ ሆኖ ሳለ ነው በኦሪት ዘጸአት ምዕራፍ 14 ቁጥር 13 ላይ በሙሴ አማካኝነት እግዚአብሔር ህዝቡ እንደዚህ ያላቸው። ሙሴም ለህዝቡ አትፍሩ፣ ዛሬ የምታዩዋቸውን ግብጻውያን ለዘላለም አታዩዋቸውምና ቁሙ፣ ዛሬ ለእናንተ የሚያደርጋትን የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን እዩ አላቸው። በዚህ ቃል ላይ እንደምታስተውሉት የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን እንደዚህ ዋዛ እንዳትመስላችሁ። የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን መጣ ማለት የሚያስጨንቃችሁን ለአንድ ሳምንት አይደለም፣ ለአንድ ዓመት አይደለም፣ ለዘላለም እንደማታዩት አድርጎ ነው ከፊታችሁ የሚያስወግደው። ብቻ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ይምጣላችሁ።
ሁሉ ቀን ይህንን ቃል በሰማው ቁጥር በውስጤ የሚጨምርልኝ እምነት አለ። የዛሬ ብዙ ሺህ ዓመት የተነገራቸውን ቃል ዛሬም ድረስ በዚህ ዘመን ላለነው ሰዎች ሲነበብ ልዩ የእምነትና የተስፋ መንፈስ የሚሰጥ ቃል እንደሆነ ይሰማኛል። ምክንያቱም ተናጋሪው እግዚአብሔር ከሆነ ከማመን ልባችን መዘግየት ስለሌለበት ነው። አስበው እስቲ ዛሬም በዙሪያችን እያየናቸው የሚያስፈራሩን ነገሮች ከዛሬ ነገ አንድ ነገር አደረጉን እያለን ባጣብቂኝ ሁኔታ የገባንባቸውን ነገሮች ጌታ ዛሬ የምታዩዋቸውን ደግሞ ለዘላለም አታዩትም፣ ምክንያቱም ማዳኔ ትገለጣለች ሲለን ምን ያህል ነው ደስታ የሚሰጠን የሚሆነው። ቀይ ባህርም እንዲከፈል ፈርዖንም በባህሩ እንደሚሰጥም ህዝቡ አንድ ነገር ማድረግ ነበረበት። ይህም ነገር ምንድነው? ግብጻውያንን ለዘላለም አታዩዋቸውምና ቁሙ፣ ዛሬ ለእናንተ የሚያደርጋትን የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን እዩ። በዚህ ቃል በዚህ ቃል ውስጥ ከህዝቡ የሚጠበቀው ነገር ሁለት ነው። አንደኛው ቁሙ ነው፣ ሁለተኛው እዩ ነው። መቆም ማየት በቃ በርግጥ ከነበሩበት ሁኔታ አንፃር መቆምም ማየትም ከባድ ነገር ነው ለነሱ። እንዳይቆሙ ከኋላቸው የፈርዖን ሰረገላ በፍጥረት እየመጣ ነው። ወደፊት ደግሞ እንዳያመልጡ ቀይ ባህር በፊታቸው ደግሞ ተዘርግቷል። ስለዚህ ያላቸው ድል ማዳኑን የሚገልጠውን እግዚአብሔርን ተማምኖ መቆም ብቻ ነበር። ሌላው በዚህ ወቅት እንደ ሰው ካየነው አስቸጋሪው ነገር በዙሪያችን ያለውን ነገር ትቶ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ብቻ ማየቱ ነው። ይህንንም በእኛም ህይወት ብዙ ጊዜ ገጥሞን ያውቃል። ግን የሚያዋጣው አዳኙን ማየት እንጂ ባህሩንና የሚያባርረንን አይደለም። ወደፊት እናምልጥም ቢሉ ቀይ ባህር በፊታቸው አለ። ስለዚህ ያላቸው ድል ማዳኑን የሚገልጠውን እግዚአብሔርን ተማምኖ መቆም ብቻ ነበር። ሌላው በዚህ ወቅት እንደ ሰው ካየነው አስቸጋሪው ነገር በዙሪያችን ያለውን ነገር ትቶ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ብቻ ማየት ነው። ይህንን በእኛም ህይወት ብዙ ጊዜ ገጥሞን ያውቃል። ግን የሚያዋጣው አዳኙን ማየት እንጂ ባህሩንና የሚያባርረንን አይደለም።
እንግዲህ ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ ያለው ቃሉ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ዝም ብሎ እንደዚህ ቀላል ነገር ሳይሆን ባህርን የሚያህል ነገር የሚከፍል ፈርዖንን የመሰለ ኃያል ንጉስ የሚያሰጥም ማዳን መሆኑን መርሳት የለብንም። እስቲ በዚህ የቃሉ ዕውቀት ወይም መንፈስ ውስጥ ሆነን አንድ ጊዜ ደግሞ ብንዘምረው ደስ ይለኛል።
የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም።
ታዲያ ይህንን የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን እንድናይ ምንን ማድረግ አለብን ብለን ከጠየቅን አንደኛው ምላሽ ዝም ብሎ እርሱን ተስፋ ማድረግ ነው ይለናል። በመዝሙረ ዳዊት 50 ቁጥር 23 ላይ በተጨማሪ እንደዚህ ይለናል፣ ምስጋና የሚሰዋ ያከብረኛል፣ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ለእርሱ የማሳይበት መንገድ ከዚያ አለ ይላል። ይህ ደግሞ ሌላኛው አቅጣጫ ነው። ተስፋ አድርገን የምንጠብቀው እያዘንንና እየቆዘምን አይደለም፣ ምስጋናን እየሰዋን። ከዚህ ቀደም በአንደኛው ዝግጅታችን ላይ ስለ ምስጋና የተናገርነውን በድጋሚ ብናስታውሳችሁ ደስ ይለናል። በመስዋዕትነት የሚቀርብ ምስጋና ጣፋጭ ነው፣ ዋጋ አለው። ማመስገን ስለምናቅ ስናመሰግን ምናልባት የማመስገኛውን ቋንቋ ወይም ዜማ ስለምናቀው ምስጋናችንን አሰማን እንጂ የማዳኑ መንገድ ያ ሊያሳየን አይችልም። በህመም የሚቀርብ ምስጋና ከተወጣጠረ ጊዜ ውስጥ ያለችውን ጊዜውን ሰውቶ የሚቀርብ ምስጋና፣ በብዙ ግራ መጋባትና ጥያቄ ውስጥ ሆኖ የሚቀርብ ምስጋና ነው። እንደዚህ የመሳሰሉት ሁሉ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን የምናይበት መንገድ ያደርጋል።
ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ነው የተባልነው ይህ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ማን እንደሆነ በሉቃስ ወንጌል ምዕራፍ 3 ከቁጥር 3 እስከ 6 ላይ እናገኘዋለን። በነብዩ በኢሳይያስ መጽሐፍም ላይ እንደዚህ ይላል፣ የጌታ መንገድ አዘጋጁ ጥርጊያውንም አቅኑ እያለ በመድረ በዳ የሚጮህ ሰው ድምጽ አዘግቱ ሁሉ ይሙላ፣ ተራራውና ኮረብታውም ሁሉ ዝቅ ይበል፣ ጠማማውም የቀና መንገድ ይሁን፣ ሻካራው መንገድ ትክክል ይሁን፣ ስጋም የለበሰ ሁሉ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ይይ ተብሎ እንደተጻፈ ለኃጢአት ስርየት የንስሐን ጥምቀት እየሰበከ በዮርዳኖስ ዙሪያ ወዳለችው አገር ሁሉ መጣ ይላል። እዚህ ቃል ላይ በነብዩ በኢሳይያስ የተተነበየው ይህ ስጋ የለበሰ ሁሉ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ይይ የተባለው ስለማን ነው ብለን ብንጠይቅ ሰሞኑን በየሳምንቱ እስቲ እንወቀው ብለን ጊዜ የሰጠነው ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ እሱ ነው። ይህንን የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን የሆነውን ጌታ ዛሬ በእምነት ማየት ስለቻልን ደስ ሊለን ይገባል። ያ ብቻ አይደለም፣ ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ነው የተባለው ይህንን ስጋ የለበሰ ሁሉ ሊያየው የተገባውን ጌታ ኢየሱስ ነውና ተስፋችን ከንቱ ያልሆነ ተስፋ እንደሆነ ልናውቅም ይገባናል።
እስቲ ጥቂት ቃሉን እንዘምረው እና በዚህ ቃል ላይ አጠር ያለ ጸሎት ብናደርግ መልካም ነው። የምንጸልየው አንደኛ ይህ የእግዚአብሔር ማዳን በነገራችን ሁሉ እንዲገለጥ ማዳኑን የምናይበት ሳምንትና ዘመን እንዲሆንልን እንጸልያለን። በተጨማሪም እኛም ይህንን ማዳን ዝም ብለን እንድንጠብቅ ጌታ ጸጋውን እንዲሰጠን እንደው አንቺ ጨምረሽ በዚህ ላይ ብትጸልይ ደስ ይለኛል።
የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም።
እግዚአብሔር አምላክ ሆይ ስለሰጠህን ስለ አዳኙ ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ እናመሰግናለን። እንድንበት ዘንድ የተሰጠን ይህ መዳኛችን ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ ወደ ህይወታችን፣ ወደ ልባችን፣ ወደ ቤታችን፣ ወደ ትዳራችን፣ ወደ አገልግሎታችን፣ ወደ ኑሯችን ውስጥ ስለገባ በእርሱ ያለው ማዳን እንድናይ ስላገኘነው ተስፋ ስለዚህ ትልቅ ስጦታ እናመሰግናለን። ማዳን የሚገኘው በዚህ ስም ስለሆነ ደህንነት ያለው በዚህ ስም ስለሆነ ምናልባት መዳኛ መንገድ ብለን የዘረጋናቸው መንገዶቻችን ካንተ መንገድ ሊያወጡን እየታገሉን ስለሆነ ጌታ ሆይ ማንንም ሰው ማዳኑን ተስፋ እንዳያደርግ የራሱን የማዳኛ መንገድ የዘረጋ በሙሉ በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም የመዳኛ መንገድ የሆነው ኢየሱስ ወደ ህይወቱ እንዲገባ የመዳኛ መንገድ የሆነው ተስፋ የሆነው ኢየሱስ ክርስቶስ በህይወቱ ውስጥ ትልቅን ተስፋንና መዳንን በህይወቱ ውስጥ እንዲያደርግ እንለምናለን። የማዳን መንገድ የሆንከው ኢየሱስ ፈቃደኞች ነን በኑሯችን ውስጥ አንተ ገብተህ ነገሮቻችንን እንድታስተካክል ያንተን ማዳን ቆመን እንጠብቃለን። የራሳችንን መንገድ እናቆማለን። ምናልባት መዳኛ እንዲሆኑልን ብለን የምንሮጣቸው ሩጫዎች ካንተ መንገድ አርቀውናል። ስለዚህ ዛሬ ከዚህ ቀንም በኋላ መዳኛችን እንደሆንክ በእውነት ገብቶናልና አንተ እውነተኛውን የደህንነት መንገድ የኑሯችን መንገድ ቢሆን ደህንነት ላይ እንዲሆን የህይወታችን አቅጣጫ ቢሆን ትክክለኛ የመዳን ተስፋ ላይ እንዲገባ እግዚአብሔር ሆይ ተስፋችን ነህ ብለን በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም ዛሬ መንገዳችን ወደ ትክክለኛ መስመር ልታቃናው ይሄን እድል ስለሰጠህን እናመሰግናለን። ኢየሱስን በህይወታችን ውስጥ አዳኝና ተስፋ እንደሆነ ተማምነናል። ከዚህ ቀን ጀምሮ መንገዳችን ያንተ የማዳን መንገድ ይሁንልን። በነገራችን ሁሉ ስግባለን በክርስቶስ ኢየሱስ ስም አሜን።
እንግዲህ ይህ ሳምንት እግዚአብሔርን ተስፋ የምናደርግበት ማዳኑን የምንጠባበቅበት ሳምንት ይሁንልን። አንዴ መጨረሻ እንዘምራለን ዝማሬውን ለመጨረሻ
ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም ሰው ዝም ብሎ የእግዚአብሔርን ማዳን ተስፋ ቢያደርግ መልካም።
Today we have 3 special guests and they're going to introduce themselves.
All right. My name's Wendu. I'm 19 years old. I go to CU Denver. It's a college that's downtown in Denver, of course. Did I say I'm a freshman? I'm a freshman. Go ahead, Nathan.
My name is Nathan. I am also going to the same school as him. I go to CU Denver downtown. I'm a junior and I'm 20, I believe.
My name is also Nathan, but I go by Nati, and I'm in high school. I go to this high school called Eagle Crest High School, and I'm 18. I'm a senior. Yeah.
All right, so why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
So I'm a double major at CU Denver. I major in music, in 2 different divisions of music. I major in music business and recording arts. I'm looking to be a producer in the future. I want to create music for God. I just don't feel like that the Christian music industry is where it could be, and I feel like it could be a lot better off. And I feel like I've been called to make it better off. So yeah.
Well, as far as like majors and stuff like that, I'm a really indecisive person. So especially with stuff like this big, I'm like not even sure at the moment. Like I'm super undecided when it comes to that. But yeah, kind of like what Nathan said too. Whatever I want to go into, like I want it to be something that's serving God, because that like has so much of a bigger impact than if I'm doing something that's going to benefit me or something in the future.
I'm working on a major in biochemical engineering because I like science and engineering. Just it fit together. I really don't know what I'm gonna do with this degree or why I'm even actually getting this degree, but hopefully God got me.
For sure.
He got you.
So, what do you guys like to do for fun? Like, what do you do in the extra time?
To be honest, usually we're always with each other or other people from church. That's like the majority of our time. And typically whenever we're in a group, things just work out, whether we know whether we know what the plan is or not. As long as we're together, we usually just have fun, I think. I mean, sometimes we'll go to the movies and stuff, but it's usually not planned until last minute.
Yeah.
So, what is your friend group like? What is specifically special about these 3 people right here?
Well, we all went to high school kind of together.
No.
Well, I went to high school with Nathan, and then Nathan left, and I went to high school with one dude. But other than that, other stuff.
I mean, so I don't know about how their friendships are, but I know for my friendship with one dude is very close. It's probably one of my closest friends. We talk about everything together. And when he first came to Denver, it was like, who knows how long ago?
2 years ago.
No, when you first
Oh.
came. Yeah.
When I was a kid.
When he was a kid, we like played a lot together, and then he left. And when he came back, I was like, shoot, you're back. And immediately we had that connection of like, we used to know each other. And then we just got really close over the last 2 years. We actually took a trip to Tennessee together too. So I know I'm pretty close with him. And with Nati, I met him when he first came from Ethiopia. He came to my house and we're like, oh, we have the same name. And that was our connection. So yeah, ever since then, actually, we have a handshake. We've had a handshake for like
We're not doing
7 years.
Dude,
We won't-
you gotta
No, that's cool.
show them how it's done. Shut it down. Come on.
Come on.
I forgot it low key.
Shut up. Come on.
No.
Do it.
Okay, man.
Oh. Hey,
It's-
I like that.
It was his idea.
Yeah. Okay, so we started like 7 years ago.
I like the Habesha kiss.
Yeah.
That was also his idea.
Putting him on
He's a genius.
Alright, yeah. So, we all know you guys, I don't know if it's a collective, but tell us about this group you made, Tahila Toda.
So the 3 of us are all in a group called Tehillah Toda. It's a social media ministry. And the vision behind it, the idea behind it is to impact people, whether they're brothers and sisters in Christ or whether they're people that want to get to know Christ. Our goal, our dream is to impact people on social media with God's power, with His love, with His kindness, with His mercy, with His grace. And we get it so much at church already. We get it so much in person. But I don't feel like we have it enough on social media. On social media, a lot of people are distracted with what's going on, with random things that are funny. And sometimes we get distracted with that and we don't realize that God is the focus of our lives. So that's just another outlet for us that we all are able to step into with Tehillah Toda.
Actually, the night he called for me, somewhere at night, I was having Devo and prayer. I was really thinking about deleting social media because it was really distracting. But God happened to tell me, keep the social media. And that same night, he called me and he asked me if I was willing to join Tehillah Toda. So you could say it's a God-given thing.
How has that impacted you? Like, what do you do with that? You know, Tehillah Toda. What actually do you do with it?
So what I do with Tehillah Toda? I started off Tehillah Toda about a year and a half ago, and I started out with just an Instagram where I could like. So in my prayer time, God would give me these like pictures in my head, and I'm a fairly good artist, so I would draw these pictures out and I'd post them up on Instagram on that page. And as we grew, as God grew in me, I realized that this is not something I could be doing by myself. So I realized I needed to grow. So I called up one dude. I felt like God was leading me to call him, and it worked out. I called up Nati, and now what we do is me and Nati, we both do videos on Tehillah. And one dude, he manages our Twitter account. We also have Instagram and Snapchat. We're supposed to have Snapchat.
Link will be in the description.
What do you think about the videos?
Yeah, I really like the videos because like it really gave us like a platform to teach, because you don't have to be like a pastor or preacher for like God to speak to you, or just to like have a word or whatever like that. So yeah, the biggest thing about the videos is that like we're able to share what God is telling us or what we're learning from God, and like help other people do that too.
Yeah, definitely. Like something that my pastor, Pastor David, had said to me a long time ago is, when God is putting a word in you, when God is giving you an epiphany, a revelation, whatever it is, for you not to share it is for you to be giving, and is the same thing as giving an abortion to a baby. When you're giving an abortion to a baby, what you're doing is you're destroying life that could have been produced, life that could have been given to the world. And if we are to get revelation, if we are to get anything from God and not share that, what we're doing is we're killing life that could have been given to the world. So yeah, I feel like that our YouTube is like an awesome thing where we're able to just share whatever's on our hearts, whatever we're going through, whatever we feel like people could be going through, and just sharing God. Yeah.
Then why don't you share a little bit about your life testimonial, like any challenges that you faced in your walk with God or anything like that?
Would you like me to go first?
Go ahead.
So I actually lived in Denver, like when I was like 5 or 6. I came over here, and that's where me and Nathan first met. But after that, me and my family moved around a little bit. So we actually came from Kenya to South Dakota, then we came to Colorado. Then when we went to Atlanta, and then for like 10 years we lived in Tennessee. And the area like where I grew up with, the people I grew up with, there was no God. Like, it wasn't that kind of culture. So really everybody was from like very poor families, drug dealers, that kind of stuff. And that's where I grew up with. That's the culture that I adopted because that's the only thing I knew. So when I first came over here, it was a very weird transition into just like listening to trap music, that kind of stuff, and transitioning into like, who is God? Like changing everything I listen to, changing what I read, changing what I see, like my vision. So like that transition wasn't easy because, you know, I didn't want to come to church at first. But there were people that reached out to me. There were people like reminding me every Sunday, like, dude, are you coming to church today? If you need a ride, I got you. Like, this church is like a very accepting culture. So they're ready to take everybody in. So there was that. And then there was maintaining your relationship with God. Because it's easy to get into God, but to stay where you're at and move further with God, that's the hardest part. Because people get stopped a lot and let go of their faith because they can't handle that kind of pressure. But that was really, like, currently and before, that's the hardest part of my relationship with God.
I guess I'll go. For me, literally, like, my whole life, I've grown up in a Christian family. Like, my mom and dad were, like, both devout Christians, like, ever since I was born. And even when I first came here, when I was 4 years old, like, we've been going to the same church and everything. But the big thing for me was, like, God wasn't ever real to me until, like, I don't know, like 3-4 years ago or whatever. Because, like, I mean, like, I'd read the Bible with my parents or something. I'd, like, listen to K-Love or whatever was on the radio with my parents. I'd watch, like, Christian, like, VeggieTales or whatever. And it'd all be like a story to me or whatever. Like, and, like, I was good at, like, memorizing those stories too. Like, okay, there's Moses, there's Abraham, blah, 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 and they did this. But, like, God was, like, never real to me. And then I remember, I think I was in, like, 8th grade or middle school or something, and the middle school pastor was talking about how, like, being, like, lukewarm, and, like, if you're lukewarm, like, the Father will spit you out. And, like, that's when I realized, dang, like, I've never taken my relationship with God, like, seriously at all. Like, if you were to ask any one of my friends from school, like, if I was a Christian, they'd have no idea. Like, there was, like, no difference in my character or who I was, like outside of church. And I have this, like, fake persona inside of church. So, like, just realizing how important that relationship with God was, because, like, that's what we were created for from the beginning. Like, that was the big thing for me. And then after that, like, even when I decided, like, I didn't want to be lukewarm or anything anymore, the biggest struggle for me was, like, spending time with God. Samuel, the high school's old worship leader, once said that, like, the biggest spiritual battle that you're ever going to go through is, like, making time for God. And, like, I felt like whenever I tried doing something like that, I'd always be distracted, whether it be, like, by school or, like, homework or my friends or something. And then I'd always, like, put God on the back burner. I'd be like, all right, maybe tomorrow, whatever. But that was never, like the centerfold of my life. Like, that was never the big thing. And it wasn't until, like, I just, like, kept making that conscious decision to today I'm like waking up every day and be like, I'm serving God or whatever, or, like, I'm a child of God, that, like, it started to change for me, where I wasn't, like, striving to, like, meet expectations, but I was just having that relationship with it. Yeah.
That's good. VeggieTales was the stuff, bro. What's it called? So for me, same as Nati, I grew up in a Christian home. My mom was always eccentric about God, and my dad, I mean, like, he came to church and stuff. So personally, myself, I could have cared less. I really believed that God was real, but I didn't want to have anything to do with him. When I was a kid, I was always bullied. I was always messed with, like, all the time. And I felt like I was worthless. I felt like there was, like, when people would tell me, pray to God, he'll take care of your problems, I was like, why would I pray to God? He has so many other things to deal with. Why would he care about me? There's no reason for me to bother him with my troubles. So I had no self-esteem. So I had to, in order to have friends, I had to change my persona in order to have friends. So I'd be friends with the jocks, I'd be friends with the girls, I'd be friends with the nerds, I'd be friends with everybody, because I was able to change myself so often that I would be able to fit in every group. When it came to church, have your church face on. Everybody will be your friend then. And it wasn't until about like freshman year or something like that. In eighth grade, it got really bad, and I was trying to like do stuff in class to get attention, like trying to cut myself with scissors, trying to like commit suicide, and I was really looking for attention. And it wasn't until freshman year of high school that I found some non-Christian friends that actually gave me some attention, and that's kind of where things started to change. My friends in church, my friends in school, both of them, they started to care for me. And I was like, maybe I do deserve a little bit something. So that's when God really started to change the identity that I saw in myself. I started to really see God and see myself in God. God started to really show me who I was. He started to show me how much of a son I was, how cared I was. And that started to change me. Getting to know God is what changes you. It's not you trying to figure anything out. So when I started to get to know God, I started to really realize that I have authority. I have power on this earth. I am an ambassador. I'm not just another person that is just here for no reason. So throughout high school, I never really had a day where I got my salvation. It was throughout a lot of high school where I was gaining my salvation. And then we have this internship at our church. It was in 2014. Right after I graduated, I was like completely dedicated to God. I joined worship team in sophomore year, and I was like, yes, I'm with God. And it wasn't until internship where we would spend time with God for at least an hour every single day, and we talk about God every single day, that I realized how big God really is. And my identity was completely transformed from being this timid person to being somebody that is courageous, somebody that's bold, because I know my identity is in Christ, not in who I am, not in what this world calls me. And yeah, that's the life that I'm headed to. That's the life that I'm going to. That's the journey that God's taken me to. It's a life of boldness, just knowing that my authority is in God, not in my teachers, not in my professors, not in my parents, not in anybody on this earth. And I'm just keep walking like that.
What was the struggle like with, so you're a child of God and you're a Christian and you just want to show that, but you have like all these other friends around you, and like how do you like project yourself as a good Christian, but still have like all these people and like all these temptation going on, like, you know, either with relationship wise, everyone's like, oh, you don't have a girlfriend, you don't have a boyfriend, kind of
Yeah,
thing.
tell us about the peer pressure. How'd you stand out?
Or like still be like, oh, I am a Christian. Like people just can see you and know that you're a Christian, because sometimes, you know, kids like hide who they are, so like everyone won't be like, oh, he's a holy person, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Can we talk about that?
Sure. I'll take it. So I kind of dealt with peer pressure. I definitely dealt with peer pressure when I was younger. And that led me to getting arrested for the first time. It was not a good experience. I got arrested. My parents beat me. I'm Abisha. I caught the belts, the hands, everything. But yeah, I got really caught up in peer pressure and started doing drugs when I was in middle school. So it was really early, and so when I first moved to Tennessee, of course, I was going to a school full of ghetto kids, if you like to call it like that, but that's where I was going. So everybody already knew drugs. They did drugs. They had guns, all that. So I was adapting to that culture. So I was still kind of fob when I came. You know what I mean? I was still fob, and I got roasted. I had to change. Yeah, I had to change and adapt quick. So I changed, I adapted, I started doing drugs, I got caught up in a bunch of bad stuff, got arrested, got the whipping, hopefully that'll never happen again. But yeah,
Speak life.
thank you. But after that episode, I still didn't know God. But when I came over here, after I went through that process, after I started getting to know God, that pressure was still there. It wasn't always drugs, but that pressure of, why aren't you dating? Why do you act like that? Why do you say no to this stuff? And the answer would be like, I'm trying to build this relationship with God. But to other people, that answer is not good enough because they don't know who God is.
Yeah.
So to them, it's just like, oh, this kid is really weird. Like, why does he do that? So I dealt with that even my senior year and my sophomore year, all throughout. I dealt with that, and it's kind of weird because people start adapting to you and they just stop asking questions.
Yeah.
But if you really want to live through God, if you want to live for God, you can't just let people adapt to, oh, he's a weird kid. So you got to understand other people, your classmates, the people peer pressuring you, they deal with peer pressure too. Mm-hmm. So for me, like, I caught people in their moment of weakness because they get roasted too. They get hurt too. So when you catch people in those moments, it's that time to be that image of Jesus for them. Like, God lives through you. He's in you. So you let them see that. So I'd catch them in that moment. I'd understand. I'd talk to them. Like, it's cool, dude. Like, I know what you're going through. And gradually, like, people, like, I started catching people around me, like my circle, in that moment. So people started to understand why I'm like this. And those, like, that pressure wore off because they know who I am.
Yeah.
They know I'm there for them. I'm not the same as everybody else they know. Like, I'm a different person for a good reason. So that's really how I dealt with peer pressure.
That's good. For me, peer pressure was something that, even though I was completely with God, by the end of high school, people didn't know I was completely with God. It was on the low. I switched schools a lot in high school. So when I was going to the school I graduated in, Eagle Crest, I really wanted to fit in, so I didn't want anything to like hinder me from that. So it was a predominantly like white school, and if I were to act out, then I would probably be singled out. So that meant that if God's telling me that somebody needs to hear about him, I would tell him, sorry, they don't need to hear about you. And peer pressure kind of followed me a lot throughout high school. Whether it came to like, well, I mean, I wasn't really that bad with relationships, but when it came to like very unseen things, like when it came to pride, when it came to arrogance, when it came to being obnoxious, being annoying, like if the other guys were doing it, I was doing it too, just because that's how they would accept me. And sometimes those things are belittled because they're not so evident, you don't see them so much, but really those are heart issues which are so much harder to get rid of. And when I came into college is when I was really starting to represent Christ on earth, where like I was talking about how I'm stepping into boldness, how I'm stepping into just being an ambassador of Christ on earth. It wasn't until college where I was really, it's not until now where I'm really able to, if my friend needs prayer because God's telling me that their leg's hurting, I'll be like, bro, is your leg hurting? God's telling me that your leg's hurting. And sometimes they'll freak out, be like, what the heck? Sometimes I'll get it wrong. But I feel like right now, peer pressure is really non-existent. I mean, there's still the fear of man, which is so crazy. Like, sometimes when God does tell you those things, like, or when somebody tells you that they're hurting, you don't want to bring up God because you're scared of how they'll look at you, and that's the fear of man. And it's so evident in America, especially. But where I am right now to compared to where I was, I believe that I am way better off. But yeah, I mean, I've messed up with peer pressure a lot. But I don't believe that there is anything that you can mess up in that will disqualify you from where God wants to take you. So
It's good. For me, when it comes to peer pressure, that was something that was like really big, like especially when I was younger, because I felt like a big thing for me was always acceptance. Like whether it was at church or at school, like I always wanted to. I don't know. I guess I felt like lonely as a little kid sometimes, so I always wanted to like have a lot of friends or whatever, and like whatever I had to do to get friends, like I'd be willing to do that. So like yeah, I'd be put in some situations where I wouldn't necessarily want to do that. I wouldn't think that was right, but like I felt like in order to be accepted, like this is what I have to do. And like that's such a backwards way of thinking, because like why am I even trying to be accepted by these people or whatever? And it was when I started learning about how like I'm accepted into God's family no matter what. Like I'm a co-heir with Christ. That like that started to matter to me less, and that like peer pressure didn't get to me as much. And like when it comes to like showing that like you're a Christian, like amidst like all the peer pressure, like I feel like the best way you could do that is like through your actions, like through your character, because like the Bible even says like faith without works is dead. Like I can't like say I'm a Christian to myself or whatever, but then like fall into those type of things repeatedly. And like I just feel like in order to like get that across to like the people at school, like my friends at school, like yeah, I'm a Christian, like yeah, I follow Christ, like the first things first is like where's my character, where's my heart at? Like I have to get that in check. Like I have to know that I'm a child of God. I have to know that I'm an heir with Christ. Yeah.
Okay. Well, tell us about the process, because there's a thing where Christians see like either one person that's struggling, and they either see one person that has overcome the struggle, but they really never see the median. And I just want you guys to like touch upon your experience. Like, what was it like when you were, I guess, on the spiritual glow up, if you call it that? But what was it like, just in your own words?
So I guess like the peak of my spiritual life with God was like right after what was like where I really felt really close to God was like after after my junior year of high school, because it wasn't like if you knew what the struggle was, it wasn't like you'd think that it was where I'd find my closeness with God, but it was like my aunt just like got diagnosed, not actually just got, but she's been diagnosed with cancer for a while at that point. And my family is not really close with my dad's side of the family at the time, but when she got sick, it really brought my dad back to his side of the family. It really brought that connection back. So my aunt's side of the family lives in South Dakota, and a majority of my dad's brothers and sisters, they all live in South Dakota in the same area, so they see each other every day. So somebody broke the news that his sister had cancer, and my dad and his sister were really close. Like, he'll tell me stories like they were, out of all his brothers and sisters, they were just together all the time. So when my dad found out that my aunt had cancer, that was like, it wasn't hard for me at the beginning, because it's just a woman that I did not know. Like, that's my dad's sister, yeah, but I've never spent time with this woman. I've never seen this woman in my life. I don't know what his side of the family's like. So at the beginning, it was just like, okay, she has cancer. What am I supposed to do about that? So as it went on, it got harder, because I could see like my dad hurting, and that started hurting me. So I started asking God, like, help me, like, do something about the situation. Like, I just can't let it go on like this. So God just brought my family back together, and he put this spiritual pain for this woman inside of me, and it was actually the worst experience ever, because my dad would come in my room and he was like, "Oh, your aunt's in the hospital, like something bad happened," and like my dad would leave and I'd just sit in my room and cry for this woman I did not know, and I did not know what to do about it. So I constantly prayed, and me and my dad and the rest of my family actually went over there during the summer to go visit them. We talked. I got to see my aunt, my grandparents for the first time in like a decade, something like that. But it's like I saw kids. Like it was very weird because I'm usually used to my mom's side of the family.
Yeah.
So God opened this path for me, and dang, that pain really took me away for a long time. And one day my dad told me that my aunt, like the doctors were like, she literally has days to live. And he left the room, and I got on my knees. I was like, God, at least let my dad make it to see my aunt one last time. And then he came in 10 minutes later and was like, your aunt passed. Like that was the worst experience for me, but that's really what brought me close to God, because every pain that he put on me, everything he put me through was very necessary. Because for one, my family wouldn't be as close as it was now if not for that pain. My dad would have never gone back if it wasn't for that. I would have never got to see my cousins, my aunts, my uncles, if it wasn't for that pain. But even the rewards for what we endured doesn't make up for the pain that we went through. It's all very necessary to build up the character of who you are with God. So yeah, that's my side of the story.
That's good.
Good.
Do I have to go after him?
No,
I'm not trying to go after.
I thought you were gonna say something, but you're like.
Did you not?
We're not trying to go after him.
That was too good.
That was too hard.
I forgot the question.
Lucky I did too. I kept going.
Talk about this.
That was a good one, dude.
He was talking about how the struggle for him helped him get closer to God. That's what I got from him.
Yeah, that's what I wanted, I guess.
But the question was, talk about the struggle of, the progress, basically. What brought you closer to him?
You want me to go? Alright.
I'll go after him.
Okay, yeah, this would be tough. And mine's not nearly as good, probably. But, so, like, you're saying, like, the struggle of, like, becoming a believer and, like...
Yeah, the challenges that so we talked about peer pressure. Uh-huh. We talked about your life testimony, basically. It kind of touched upon them. But I just want you guys to go in detail, like, what, like... Because I said before, like, Christians are either seen as strugglers, some are, like, struggling, and some have overcome a certain type of struggle.
But, like, what was the process in between?
Well, yeah, what was in between? What happened
go
between
ahead.
New Nazi and Old Nazi?
So for me, my struggle. Okay, so after leaving high school, going into college, I definitely started having this new relationship with God. Started having this new relationship where I'm reaching new levels of boldness, reaching new levels of all this, and just because I am dipping into new depths of God, it doesn't mean that I'm not going to struggle. That I'm not going to struggle. Double negative. What's it called? So I really believe that the devil was attacking in a new way that I didn't even register until it was too late. So summer was coming up, and I had plans to just really dive in more with God during summer. I wanted to dedicate my whole summer to Him, and I wanted to just, whether it was for Tehillah, whether it was for something, I just really wanted to go further with God. And I have a lot of friends that are in church and out of church, and my friends out of church don't do church things. They do other things. They go out, whatever. And so they're my friends. So I still want to keep them close. I still want to be a representation of Christ to them, because if I'm not, I don't know who will be. So I'd be with them. So for birthdays, like I'm not gonna miss a birthday. So for birthdays, if they want to go out, then I'll go out. But I'm not gonna do anything. I'll just be there, like moral support, like happy birthday. I'll be there. That's it. And this is something that's normal for me. I would do that a lot, and I never had to deal with temptation. Never had to deal with any of that. But recently, not that recently actually. Like I don't know how long ago it was, but around the end of sophomore year, temptation started creeping in, and it was to the point where I didn't want to go for their birthdays. I was like, guys, I'm just gonna be there we'll sit on the couch and we'll talk, and that's it, and I'm gonna go back home. And then God just really, I felt like God took his spirit away from me. I felt like I wasn't receiving him anymore. I felt like I wasn't speaking to him anymore. So whether it came to like reading my Bible, I stopped. Whether it came to spending time with him, I stopped. During worship, I'd play guitar. That's it. I wouldn't do anything more. I wouldn't praise him. I wouldn't anything like that. And it really took like the life out of me. So when this was happening to me, I needed something to fulfill this life in me. So I started thinking about those temptations. I started thinking about drinking, everything, like going out, whatever. And they really started to appeal to me. They really started to like make me happy. So I was like, you know what? I'm ready for the next birthday. I'm about to go all out. So my friend's birthday came around, and I went to hang out with them, and we went out, and they were like, no way, you're gonna drink? They were like, because that's the kind of person that I became. I became a person that they never expected to do this. And I was like, yeah, I am. And then I started, and it was probably the worst experience I ever had in my life. Like, for the first time, I got drunk, and it was terrible. I didn't like that I wasn't in control of my body. And maybe that was just my spirit that God was, I believe it was God's spirit inside of me that was telling me that I was being done. But just because of that, I didn't want to stop. I didn't want to go back to God. I wasn't ready for God yet. So I was like, let me find something else. So then I started to turn to weed. And I was like, let me try this. Maybe this will be better. Weed wasn't good for me either. Like, there's nothing that will suffice your desire for God than God. And that's really what my struggle had taught me. Like, whether it was drinking, whether it was drugs, like those things are not going to help. And I tried. I know I tried. It didn't work. It sucks. So I really feel like that was the struggle that I went through. And in that struggle, like for one dude, it was his family getting closer, him realizing that. For me, it was realizing that there is nothing like the sweetness of God. There is nothing that will suffice me like God. And now I know. I guess that was what I learned. My summer was kind of ruined. It kind of sucked. I didn't get to do all the things that I had planned. I didn't get to spend time with God. But now I know that I never want to leave his side. So, yeah.
Well, I kind of said this earlier, but like one of the biggest struggles for me was, making that time for God. Because spending that time with God is just like so important. Because like we're called to have a relationship with Him, but like I can't be in a relationship with like Nathan or Wendu if I'm like not in communication with them. If I'm not spending time with them, like I can't just be like, yeah, me and Wendu are friends, but I haven't seen Wendu in 5 years. I haven't talked to Wendu in 5 years or whatever like that. So I felt like for the beginning of like my walk with Christ, that's how it was. Like I'd be like, yeah, I'm a Christian, yeah, I follow Christ or whatever, but like I never spent time in my word, I never spent time with God or anything like that. And that was like the big struggle for me early on. But like later on, like the struggles that were really impacting my life were like escaping my comfort zones. Like one of the big things for me was like I hate public speaking. Like whether it be in school, like something like this, or like at church or something, like whenever I was like called to public speaking, I was all like, oh heck no. Like I start sweating, like my stomach hurt, I have a headache. I'd be like, yep, my throat's dry and like my voice is cracking and all this stuff. and like that's just not the like that's not the scene for me or whatever. Like that wasn't my environment. Like I did not want to be called into anything that had to do with something like that. And then I remember this summer, I did the internship at our church, and the thing I was focusing on was teaching. And at the end of the internship, at the end of the summer, we had this event where like the people in the internship were like leading worship, where they had like words and they were teaching or whatever. And I was doing one of the teachings, and I remember during worship, like right before I was about to go up, like everything started happening. Like my throat was getting dry. I started like sweating. I'm like, oh God, like I'm not ready for this. I'm not cut out for this. And then I just like really felt God saying to me, like, why are you always like scared of the things that I'm calling you into? Like, why are you like listening to the enemy when he's like trying to keep you from doing something that's like gonna give me glory, keep you from doing something that like I'm equipping you to do anyway. And like that was like when it really clicked to me that like God like works in my fear. Like in the places where I'm uncomfortable, like God like makes up for that. Like he's sufficient in that. Yeah.
I'm really glad you guys said that, because a lot of Christians think a lot of unbelievers think we're holy people. We don't sin after we say yes, Jesus. It's not happily ever after. There still is a struggle. And I'm really glad you guys said that, because that just opens up certain topics and it sheds some light onto this.
Yeah.
So in all, what kind of, I mean, you guys touched upon so many amazing topics, but what kind of advice do you have for like the youth out there, or any even parents as well? Because I mean, of course, you guys went through all this, and you know what your parents went through with that too. So, what kind of advice do you have?
Advice for parents. I really would like to say that parents when they ask their kids, how's school, how's everything like that, do you ask, how's your relationship with God? Do you ask, how is your walk with Christ? If that's supposed to be the reason why we live, if that's supposed to be our first, that's supposed to be our priority. But so many times, whether it's my parents or my aunts or my uncles, whoever it is, they'll just ask me about school, and they'll be like, what's your goal? Cool, we're done. We're not going to talk again for like whatever. And I think that it would be very helpful, and it would create new relationship between like daughter and son or whoever it is, if parents would stop and say, how is your relationship with God? This is what I'm struggling with. What are you struggling with? Because even though like that, yes, you're my parent, you're my mom, you're my dad, but we're still also brothers and sisters in Christ. Let's work together to better each other. I think that'd be great, a great thing.
I think for both like parents and like just like students as well, or kids as well, is like for parents not to look for perfection in like your kids all the time, and like for us like not to like always like strive for perfection. And like whatever it is, like whether that's like in your walk with Christ or with anything like that, because like there's no need for us to strive. Like we all fall short of God's expectations anyway, but that's where like grace makes up for that. That's why like when you mess up, or like when your kid messes up or something like that, that's never the end of the world. Like no matter, like when you look at the Bible, no matter what anybody did, like God was able to forgive them. Like those sins were like washed away by the blood of Jesus. And like I feel like a lot of times like parents might take some stuff like out of proportion, like get really mad at their kids, like send them back to Africa or something. But like at the end of the day, like literally we're all human. We're all gonna mess up. We're all gonna fall short. But just like Christ like has grace like that, like just understanding that with your kids too.
I guess just for anybody, like I said earlier, God rewards you for the pain, the path you've walked. He rewards you for that. Even now, some of the closest friends I have are people who came in during my struggle. God literally sent people to me when like I was near my breaking point. So if you endure, there is something at the end of the road. There is something for you that God has prepared. He doesn't forget his children. He doesn't forget what you've gone through. So I think that's something a lot of people forget when they're going through that process.
Good. Thank you guys so much for being part of the show.
No problem.
It was fun.
Yeah.
I hope you guys come back.
I'm a